Thinking about starting your own podcast? Think it's a good idea that you try Anchor. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. And Anchor gives you everything you need in one place. And the best part is that it's free. And the other best part is you can use it right from your phone or your computer. And I've been using it from my phone this entire time. Creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast so it really sounds great. They'll distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere. And when I mean everywhere, I mean Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can easily make money from your podcast, and there's no minimum listenership. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Connect with KT. This is the first night that I'm doing the late night talk show. I'll have a guest speaker on tonight to give you a little bit of information about myself and why I started this podcast. So I originally started to kind of give everybody like a chance to know who I was, and I'm a very expressive person, so I like to tell people and give people my perspective on things. And now that I've kind of evolved and learned more about what podcasts are good for and blogging, and now I have a website and all that good stuff, tonight will be the first night that I will have a guest speaker. I'll introduce him very soon. And you guys will be able to tune in on Saturdays and Sundays between 12 and 2 a.m. And I'll be doing late night talks. I'll try to invite certain people on to give you current news, life events, things that actually matter. So tonight I'm going to have my boyfriend Antonio on, and we actually are going to talk about the George Floyd situation. Him and I had a discussion about this just a few nights ago, and I really, he's very intelligent and has a really fresh perspective on this whole situation and the protests that are going on. And I also want to let you guys know that we are enjoying a smoke sesh right now, and this is something we do, to kind of relax, and something that helps me sleep personally. So I'm going to have him on here, and like I said, he's given us a very fresh perspective on the situation, and my whole perspective, we'll talk about that, but really, I wanted to kind of just have this be a flowy conversation back and forth. And, all right, Antonio, we will give the mic to you here. So I want to, start with first, kind of like your opening thoughts on the George Floyd situation, and like where do you stand with that?
All right, yo. So to answer your question, obviously it was very horrible. He didn't deserve to go out like that. I'm pretty sure it was pretty torturous. It was pretty scary for him. My man's got choked out for like 6 minutes. That's very crazy. To have a grown man on your neck like that, probably like a solid 200 pounds at least, for 6 whole minutes, that's like worse than torture. So I wouldn't wish that on, like my worst enemy. So,
That's terrible.
It's pretty much not a lot to really say about it. As far as, how I feel about it.
Right.
I mean, with all the controversy going on around with it right now, it's pretty much already set in stone. So I don't really need to say too much about it, but everything that goes on behind it is really kind of what I want to talk about. So,
right.
To answer your question, yeah, like I said, it's pretty bad. It was an unfortunate situation, but hey, people die every single day.
That's very true. So one of the things that I was thinking about was, and something that actually got brought up today, was the fact that those two actually had worked together for like 17 years. So, obviously, there's some talk about, the white officer having some sort of vendetta against him, which I don't know if that's to be true. And also, was this some sort of, to go even deeper, do you think this was some sort of distraction, a start to a distraction?
No, not really. I feel like it was an actual thing that happened, but it really sparked people's interest and rage, and people were very emotional about it. You know what I mean? But other than that, no, I don't really believe that it was a set distraction. That's more conspiracy talk, but
right.
You know what I mean? I'm no stranger to that. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't put it past you, but I don't.
Yeah, neither one of us are.
Yeah, I don't really think it had nothing to do with that, though.
Yeah. Not necessarily that I believe that either, but you know how people just like to throw things on social media or the news, will throw things at you to try to get different viewpoints on the situation. And I think, the biggest thing now, and a lot of people have said, racism has already been going on and, has been going on. And really cameras, technology has been able to put all of this on social media. So really, is it that racism really has been going on and now it's just shedding light? You know what I mean? That now it's showing that, like, yeah, this is still going on and we need to do something about it. What do you think about that?
I mean, it just depends on how you look at it as a person. To me, I don't really see what a lot of people see, like with that whole situation. Like, I don't look at it, and I don't look at the situation and just jump to racism.
Right.
I mean, like, a lot of people look at that situation and they see white cop kills black man. Like, I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see innocent man gets killed by a corrupt cop. You know what I mean? Or something like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't say or just jump to the racism, because, you know what I mean, when you do stuff like that, it causes the exact same shit that you see going on right now in all these
the
other
protests
states.
And the
yeah, but
fight.
the thing is, it's not the protests that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? It's just the fact that people are so outraged and emotional about it over the racism part. You know what I mean? Because they feel like they need to be. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. You know what I mean? Because those are my people too. But at the same time, in this day and age, if you really want to get rid of racism, there has to be, you have to stop talking about it. If you don't stop talking about it,
talking about the
it's
separation.
never going to stop getting circulated around the economy, around the community, all the people in the country, in other countries. It's never going to stop. And in this country, it's particularly the worst. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if people want to truly solve and get racism out of the picture, then you have to eliminate it from the picture. It can't be controversial around. You know what I mean? Like, people can't be bringing it up constantly. You know what I mean? Making debates about it constantly, because it's not gonna ever be an eye-to-eye thing, as long as it gets dealt with in that, within those terms. You know what I mean? Because it's just not the way to go about it. You can't have a world full of hundreds of different ethnicities and races and religions and gender and still, have enough room to make an opinion. Because when you do that, all it does is cause, like I said, the same thing that you see going on right now. The people in them streets are just there because they feel like they need to be seen and they need to be heard, and they want to feel like they're a part of something.
Right.
It's not really like they're there for any personal reasons. I mean, some of them may feel like they are, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like I said before, it just depends on who you are as a person. I mean, if these people are hurt, if these people are upset, then I get it. You know what I mean? And it is wrong. But you have to realize racism has been going on and has been a thing for hundreds of years before any of us appeared here. So it's not something that you can really control. It's
or even forget about, really.
Yeah, you can't. It's already written in the books.
And like when we were talking before, it's like one of those things where you see it and you can't unsee it, you know. Or you see, you know, back in the day when they think, you know, all those things happen, like, and their ancestors and then generations passed on, you know. Unfortunately, people have different opinions and judgments, and those just keep getting passed on. And that's created racism and hate and, you know, all the bad things that, unfortunately, we're protesting about right now, you know. So.
Yeah. And I'm not opposing the protest. Like,
no, me neither.
That,
right.
You know, I agree with any protest if the protest is whatever is being protested is righteous. If there's a good cause for it, then 100%. I'm all for it. But if there's not a good cause, then there's really no point to protest. You know what I mean? Like, people rioting and looting in the streets and shit. That shit is stupid.
Oh, 100%. And
you know, that's not really remembering anybody. Like, that's not
and
for George Floyd. That's for yourself.
Right. And that's actually a good point that where you just said, you know, it's not for George Floyd. There was even a statement from his girlfriend saying, you know, this is not something that he would have wanted. He wouldn't have wanted to see all these fires and, you know, the Minneapolis burnt down. You know, that was a place that he loved and cherished. So that, you know, it's not, are they really, you know, it's not good to be doing it for that. But then, you know, last night, City of Flint, they protested peacefully and positively, even had cops and sheriffs, even the SWAT team putting their hands up together, you know, which is exactly what should be happening. And they just made history last night, which is really cool. So.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's not only cool, but it's eye opening, and it should be
100%
to the rest of the world. You know, because Flint is a city that is like kind of standing on its last leg.
It really, the water crisis,
like,
yeah.
Yep. So it's like for a city like that to be in such, you know, in danger situations and to be such an emotional city full of emotional people. That have been in dire situations for a long time.
Right.
For them all to come together and be that humble about it and be that peaceful, and you gotta give them the credit.
You really do.
You have to. You know? So that just proves that everything you see on TV, everything you see on the internet, everything you see on the analytics and the statistic charts, it's never gonna be 100% accurate.
Nope.
Those are all coming from people's opinions.
Right.
There's no such thing as actual data. I mean, it is in certain cases, but it is in a lot.
But it's hard to skew it. It's hard for people to make data up. I mean, really, it is, you know, in a way. So.
Yeah, it's not. A lot of data is misconstrued. Like, it's not 100% factual. You know what I mean? You have to understand.
Right.
The facts can only be something that is indefinite. Like, it has to be 100% pure. It has to be inevitable. Like death. Life and death. Those are facts. You know what I mean? You can't argue with it. You can't debate about it. Nothing. You know what I mean? And a lot of data, it's like, it's debatable. So how can you really call, you know what I mean? Like, how can you really go off of that shit? That's why you can't watch the news. You can't believe nothing that you hear in the media. That shit is all corrupt. It's all fake. You know what I mean? Like, this is all part of their agenda. The media is a corporation. The media is a business, just like everything else. The world revolves around money. Everything is for money.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, what you see on the news is literally to put money in their pockets. That's all it's for.
Yeah, think about when all these bad things happen and news reporters are like there in 2 seconds. I mean,
yeah, they're there in 2 seconds to get the top story.
Mm-hmm.
They have to get the freshest
They
evidence.
have to, otherwise
they have to get the freshest pictures. They have to get they got to be the first ones with the story.
Yep.
If they're the news channel with the first ones on the site, they get paid the most money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all a competition.
And that's all they care about, the money
news
driven,
channels,
like I
the
said.
people, these news channels that y'all think feed y'all valuable info every single fucking day, they are in competition with each other. All these different news channels that you see.
And people forget that.
And they
people
forget that.
stuff.
A lot of people, it's not even if they forget it, they don't know
even think
it.
Right, or they don't know
what I
it.
mean?
They're
Like,
not even really educated about what's really going on.
These news channels compete with each other to give you fake news. That's all it is. When you turn on the news or you listen to the news, it's always something negative. It's never nothing positive or none of that. And they do that because they feel like people are naturally drawn to violence, which they are. A lot of people are drawn to violence. So like when a news channel finds the most, sad, depressing, trying to instill fear into you, anything that like that, they're going for it because that's what gets them paid. That's what gets the most attention. You know what I mean? You talk about something good, like a kid or a group of kids graduating, or or doing something good, or somebody coming out with a dope ass invention, that could change. You hear about that for like 2 seconds, and then they cut it off, and it's back to something negative every single time.
Yeah, because nobody.
You can go look at any news story in history to this date, and they all have that same pattern.
Just a little snippet of each little positive thing.
It's crazy. And then
they show the too much of the positive.
They show the obituary list.
And they even have the music playing, and it's like a background.
It's literally meant to put you in a fucked up state of mind. That's what it's
sad and fearful, and like scared to like not work a job or not follow the rules, or or you're gonna get judged. You're gonna go, you're breaking the rules.
Exactly. And
you're not going along with what everybody else is doing.
And I'm saying
but
all
why
this,
do I?
I'm saying all this to say
everybody else feels the same way. Sorry.
I'm saying all this to say that, like, if you're gonna go and protest, then you have to know what you're protesting for. You can't just be out there just doing stupid shit. It doesn't make you look good, and it doesn't do nothing for the community. So.
And that's like I said, because technology unfortunately is gonna expose, most of your faces during a time like that, especially now. So.
But I feel for the people though, and I'm not using any racial terms because I don't, like I said at the beginning, I don't really see that shit. So there's no point for me to talk about it.
I don't like to. I just like to, ask you,
With like all the controversy going on around it right now, everybody's heard about it. Everybody sees what the fuck is going on. It's basically a race war. But it's stupid. You know what I mean? And the thing is...
because we can all come together.
Exactly. And that's what it should all be about.
Right.
If the protest is not about everybody coming together, then I don't want to hear about it. You know what I mean? I don't want to support it. I don't want to do none of that shit because all these people in all these different states, it started in Minnesota, but then all of a sudden, it broke out it broke out everywhere. And it's like, do you people even know what the fuck y'all are in the streets rioting for?
Right. And that's what a lot of people are questioning too, like what are you standing for when you're doing those violent acts? Like we're supposed to be coming together, so like we should be protesting and bringing everybody together. And like I said, I can't say, there was like somebody that said this really well. Like they said, like, I understand, like as a white person, and which I hate to say that, like I understand that I don't understand, but I will always stand for everybody or stand together. Which I think is a really good statement to make because, like we talked about even just a little bit ago, you know, it just racism has been just around for generations. So now we just really have to realize that standing together is really the key, and it's essential to starting a new movement, I guess, you know.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this is gonna go down in history. Like, this is gonna be, you know, like one of the important moments, you know, that people look back on and shit.
I think so too.
100%. You know, but it just sucks that it had to be something so negative.
Yeah.
You know, and
there always
really,
seems to be.
And really, they like that shit is true. What they say, like, history really do repeat itself. Like, this shit is true. This is not the first time this has happened.
No.
You know what I mean?
Unfortunately.
It's definitely the most violent. One of the most violent.
Well, I mean, what I've experienced, you know, and especially as an adult.
Yeah, in my lifetime.
Yeah, to see.
100%.
To remember and
you know, and then all this pandemic shit, like, yeah, bro. I don't, you know, I never thought I would have seen something like this, but to be honest, I never looked past it though. You know what I mean?
No, right. It's always kind of been like in the back of your mind in a sense.
You gotta prepare for the worst.
Right.
Hope for the best. You know. But
very true.
Yeah, but like I was saying about the protest though, I feel for the people. You know, they out there doing their thing, but at the same time, there's a lot of people out there for the wrong reason. You know, you got people looting stores, vandalizing shit. You know what I mean? Like, police officers are getting shot. You know what I mean? Like, and then that just goes to show you right there that it's too many people on this planet to ever come to one agreement. It's just not possible.
Well, we're all too different, and we all can't accept that we're all different.
There's too many opinions. That's all it is. See, like, people in the city of Flint had a peaceful protest. There was no bullshit. There was no negativity. The cops even protested with them. But then you got people in other states that are running wild and tearing their city apart. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you call two different perspectives. You know? And it's so fucking, it's crazy to me because it's like, you hear about Flint. Oh, Flint has this many murders, and Flint is the worst city in the U.S., the poorest city in the U.S., the this, the that, the water crisis, the crime. Like, you hear all of that about Flint, but yet they had the most peaceful protests in the most fucked up times. Yeah. How is that possible?
Yeah, I even heard...
All these other big-ass cities got everything they need. They got the biggest skyscrapers, the cleanest water, the fucking, like, you know, all the fucking, the products, the biggest corporations, but they tear it down.
Yeah, and it's like, what does that say really about that city? Like, the real industrialized.
And it's not even about the fucking city. Like, honestly, all of those businesses that they're fucking up are insured. I mean, let's be honest, they're franchised.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, my whole thing is, why are these people in these bigger cities, why are they so angry?
No, that's what I'm saying.
You know
like,
I mean?
these
like,
bigger
industries. Yeah. What do you have to be so angry about?
Right. That's what
you have people in the city of Flint, in a city like Flint, that are, like, you know, suffering and have it way worse and are way worse off than a lot of other major cities in the world. You know what I mean? And then they can have a peaceful protest and be completely civil. It just don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? And then you look at like I said earlier, you look at the media, all the charts, and you will see nothing but bad things about Flint. Nobody wants to come to Flint ever. Who honestly wants to come here?
And that small group of people And even a dude, a guy said on that live video, he was like, Flint's never been a racist city.
Never.
And we never have been, or, because we've been around here. It never has been. It's, people of Flint have never been racist. I've never felt, uncomfortable anybody, or I've never known anybody, my friends, because I have a lot of friends from all different cultures, and I've never known anybody to feel uncomfortable really in any situation in Flint or, really Genesee County, so.
Man, it just sucks that Flint don't get the recognition that it needs to. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's like basically a fucking battlefield over there. You know what I mean? I'm fortunate enough to not live directly in the area, but I'm next door to it. You know what I mean? So I see everything that goes on. I hear about everything that goes on.
Well, yeah, and we have our shopping mall. That shopping mall's been around like our whole childhood. It's somewhere we've gone, we've known. You know what I mean? So it, in all the places, and there's places, they try to rebuild Flint, and there's really nice shops and stuff downtown. So it's not like it's the worst place ever.
You know what's gonna happen to Flint? Flint is gonna get rebuilt.
And that's what they want, really.
Yeah. They're gonna push everybody out, and they're gonna rebuild it.
Yeah, I've heard people say that.
Because there's nothing else they can do. If they don't, with the water system being fucked up,
they gotta take all them pipes and redo every single pipeline in the houses. And I mean, that stuff's just deteriorating all the pipes. Like, what else could they do? And they have to move everybody out into the other cities. And do the other cities have the capacity? You know what I mean? Do they have the security and the safety in the other places, for them to feel safe? People that are coming from Flint,
Not only that, but the people, some people are gonna judge the people that are coming from Flint. There's always that judgment.
That's right.
That's another reason that people will never see eye to eye. Like I said earlier, it's just too many.
Because the car you drive,
there's too many opinions.
Yep.
Like, for real, there's way too many.
The way you wear your clothes, the hair color you have. I mean, it's
everything.
Crazy. People you hang out with, people judge you by just the people you hang out with.
And especially like with racism, I can tell you, it's not even going to make a dent until all the people that came from that era are no longer here. It's the only way. Like,
or they just say, oh, we're not, let's end this. Let's all stand together. But I mean, let's be honest. Like, would that really ever happen? Because that's how many people, millions and billions of people.
Yeah, all the people, that came from that era and had children from that era, until they are completely gone and they ain't here to rain down upon all the negativity and all the racism
that was pushed onto them.
Yeah, that came before them and before them. Until they're gone, bro, the racism is not gonna stop. Because
it'll stay alive.
It's almost like a sickness. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like a sickness for real. Like,
and you did say that before.
Yeah, I said that before the other day. Like, this is like, racism is like a sickness almost. Like, because it's something that you can't really avoid, and it's something that's just there. Because there happens to be different ethnicities and different races of people. You know what I mean? Like, and with it being the way it is now, and so much going on in the world now, like I said, I don't really feel like it's gonna make a dent until all those people that came from that era are no longer here. Because how can it? You know what I mean? It's just like a sickness. Like I said, if you got a germ that can't be killed, then how are you going to get rid of the sickness? It's like, how?
Right.
You know, and those people from before that era are the germ.
Right.
You
And
know?
then luckily there were people that branched off and like knew better and were open-minded and changed the mind of other people, you know, so that there were all good people, or I mean, some good people. But
yeah, 100%. And like I said, every race, it has some, you know, some racist view towards another race. I mean, like, you know, I'm just trying to find the best way to say it. Because I don't
without sounding like you have a strong opinion. Yeah, me neither.
I don't want this to be that kind of conversation.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, this
not
is
at
supposed
all.
to be fun, little chill conversation.
It's supposed to be positive and enlightening, and like knowing that there's, you know, good people out here that really do have, you know, a positive, open-minded, you know.
It's more of a thing where it's like what's understood don't need to be explained.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like I said, it's a lot of controversy going on around this topic right now.
Oh my gosh,
You know,
yeah.
so it's like we don't
It's
need
crazy.
to sit here and sound just like everybody else that had to put their 2 cents into it. Like, nah, I actually try to just be chill about it, be humble, and just make sense of it. You know, but in a humble, positive way. You know what I mean? I'm not here to talk about all the, you know, the racist stuff and this race.
No,
this race did that. Yeah, that race did. Like, I'm not here to debate other people's ethnicities.
No, because like, I mean, we love everybody from everywhere.
Yeah, I love everybody. I don't see
all
color.
things.
Like,
yeah, it's
you know what
just
I mean? That shit is
never,
stupid to me. Do you think
never
animals
have.
see species and shit?
That,
like,
exactly. That's what I was gonna bring up
every
too.
Animal that you see, it's either predator or prey. But
Yeah,
with that being said, but that all comes down to survival. It's not the same instincts as a human being. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't live in that kind of life anymore. You know what I mean? It used to be savage like that. And that's what I'm saying. But when it became civilized, that's when all of this bullshit started happening. You know what I mean? But when you think of it in the animal's perspective, it's all based off instincts, survival instincts, though. So, like I said, it's predator versus prey. And you know what I mean? Every animal and every insect, damn near, they all work together. All of them. Literally.
Yeah, I mean, as
Mother Nature is literally
whole.
their whole shit, and they keep that shit afloat.
They keep us afloat, really. If you it's
yeah,
the whole
too,
life cycle.
Saying,
I mean,
no, but I'm just saying in between the two different.
I got you. Yeah,
like that's
the differences between the
there's a bunch of different types of animals, bunch of different types of insects.
But they all, like you said, the predator prey. Like that's really what it is. It's not about
the same shit, though.
The emotions and
they don't have to deal with the shit that we have to deal with, the racism and the ignorance and all the shit that goes on. You know what I mean? Like that shit is, you know, you have to think of it like that. Like that's what life is supposed to really be about. Like all the shit that they tell you is not what it really is. We could sit here and talk about this all day. We could. We can save that for another episode because I can talk about that all day long. All the
we'll definitely have to save that for another one because we could just go on for hours and hours about that.
You know what I mean? Like
we'll have to pick a different conspiracy theory to talk about.
That's a whole different story. But, you know what I mean?
Because we've definitely talked about those before plenty of times. Yeah, I mean, really, like, what it all comes down to, because, I mean, I don't know how much more you got to say, but, it really comes down to is, you know, just spreading positivity. That's what we're all about, you know, being open-minded. I'm going to say that 100 times, and then just always, you know, standing together, and just keeping that mindset and not being afraid, which is hard for people to do, but you know that's what really creates power, and in a positive way, not just powering over people, but having the power to, you know, become better.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. If you ain't never looking to better yourself in situations like this, then just don't become a part of them. You know what I mean? Like it's only creating more negativity. You know, Because honestly, if these people keep this shit up, it's only gonna fuck shit up for everybody else.
Right. And that's what I think about. It's just like dang,
literally, do you realize the people in these cities that they're tearing up right now? They're tearing up small businesses.
They've done nothing.
People that are
good, honest people,
the less fortunate, and they're trying to make something of themselves. Like, you know what I mean? And they gotta wake up to their shop just completely destroyed. You know what I mean? Nothing. Like, you know what I mean? They might not have their shit insured. You know what I mean? Like all these other big ass franchises and shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's the fucked up part. That's the real fucked up part. I don't feel bad for Target and fucking, you know what I mean? And Louis Vuitton and Foot Locker and all them bum ass franchise. I don't feel bad for that.
No,
you know, because they're all insured.
They have to.
They're not.
They got too many employees to not have insurance.
They're not there for nothing but to get your money. They don't care about this shit that's going on. They never did, and they never will. You know what I mean? Like,
no, because you don't see. I don't mean to cut you off, but I just you don't see those people talking about coming together. You know, these big companies. Like, when do you ever see companies like that ever, inspiring people to come together or be better or anything? All it is, oh, come in, we have a job, we're gonna give you all the benefits and all, good pay. That's always what it's about, and I know that that's not what they're supposed to do, but if you think about it, overall, you never see companies like that ever doing, not that I see, or that makes an impact on me.
Yeah, everything, that these companies stand for, they'll never understand the shit that is going on right now, because all they see is money.
They have the money.
Everything is money. So if you can't look past that, then, you're going to be blinded by a lot of shit. And that's just how it is, you know what I mean? But you can't lose sight of the money, but you just can't let, the money
you can't
become
be money
you.
Driven.
No, you just can't let the money become you.
Well, right.
Because that shit, it's a lot of negativity in that dollar bill, real shit. That shit is there's a lot
of people say that too.
It's a lot of dark shit that comes behind that banknote, serious shit. So it's just I don't really feel bad for them, type, and the people looting and shit is very fucking stupid. But if they're looting, they're looting. There's nothing you can do to stop that. You know what I mean? So there's no point in bitching about it.
Yeah, just when I talk about, people making negative comments or things like that, and it's just or if I read negative comments and I want to say something, I just bite my tongue 99.9% of the time, because it's just is it really worth it to even feed into it? Because 99.9% of the time, that person is asking for that, they're asking for people to basically feed into their negativity. They want people to argue with them and create more violence.
Yeah. And the whole thing, now one thing I don't agree with, and I've had talks with people about this before, is the whole, the thing where, and I'm not even going to directly say it, but it's just the thing about the protest and how it's one-sided. It's not a protest that's including every race or including every human being. It's very one-sided. Now there's multiple different races of people that are out there side by side protesting, but it's not about every race. And that's the thing that I don't agree with on the protest, because like I said earlier, if you're not protesting for everybody to come together, then it's pointless. And to me, a lot of the protest is very negative, just because they're going against each other. People are in the streets going against the cops. How is that helping? That's not really,
setting their cars on
it's
fire.
It's not really helping. You just proving why these cities need law enforcement. Could you imagine if there was no law enforcement there to do anything? And they would have just been running free this whole time? That city would have been burned to the fucking ground.
A lot of cities would have been.
They would have been burned to the ground. Minnesota would have been so badly damaged. Like, it would have been, it would have took them years to come back from that. Right. They already lost a lot of money. I mean, let's be honest. But I'm just saying, if but my point is that they're just proving why you need law enforcement. You know what I'm saying?
As much as I don't like to say like that people. Or no, go ahead. I'll finish.
I was just saying it's a lot of fucked up police officers out here, but every single one isn't. You know what I mean? And that's just factual.
Oh, yeah, just like
You know what I mean?
Just like everybody's different.
Try to argue with that shit, and it's just like, nah. Like, you're arguing because you want to argue. Like, this is the shit that you want to do. But you don't really want to look at the hard, stone cold facts. And the fact of the matter is, there are racist police officers. There are police officers with poor training. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. It's not, every single police officer is racist. It's not every single police officer is a dickhead. It's not every single police officer had poor training. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that in every situation. And that's just facts. And I think a lot of people need to look at that. You know what I mean? You got to stop looking at everything race. If that was a white man had his knee on a white man's neck, you would have never heard about this shit. Ever. This would have never, it probably would have made the news very briefly, but there would have been no protests. There would have been nothing like that. You know what I mean? My man's probably would have still went to trial, whoop-de-whoop, and they would have got it over with. You know what I mean? But there would have been no protests, none of that. All this controversy, there would have been nothing ever would have said. Nothing ever about it. And that's the part that keeps racism going. You know. As long as people can, learn to exclude racism from, situations like that, then it'll slowly die down. But until then, it's not going nowhere.
I agree with you. There's just, and, like you've even said a few times, just too many people are emotional. You know what I mean? People have had personal experiences with it, you know what I mean? Maybe multiple personal experiences, not just from one person. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think, but I do agree with you, though. It's just, unless we all come together and all those people from the era disappear, we're kind of...
Yeah, just until they pass on. That's all it is. Like, and it's going to happen. Just like it's going to happen for everybody else. It's a cycle. Everything in this whole thing is a cycle. So. And then, and I, like I said earlier, I don't blame, certain people being angry. I mean, you can't, when you put a label on people and, you expect them to live people to live side by side, but you try to segregate them with labels and he's this race, she's this race. You know what I mean? Like, it's never gonna, how can you expect anything to be equal? How? It's impossible.
Yeah, that's even, and that's not even just labeling them with race, but just like I said when we talked about this before, labeling people with mental disorders, or like you're a psychopath, or you know what I mean?
It goes beyond race. It goes to that too.
And it doesn't, and it's crazy. The stereotypes and or low income status because you only make this much an hour. It's crazy how labels have taken over.
It's crazy because a lot of people's emotion comes strictly from other people's judgment.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally all it is.
Emotion is like almost
judgment.
Created in a way. You know, some emotions are. I mean, that's another topic too, but it just seems that it can be.
You know? And it's true. A lot of people, you know, that are talking about this shit on social media, a lot of them people aren't talking about these for the right reasons. You know what I mean? They're just emotional outbursts. You know what I mean? Like you know, it has nothing to even really do with them. They just want to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to be seen.
Right.
That's just...
Yeah, and there's those people too, and there's, like you said, there's still the people out there that think it was okay. Not very many, but there's still that little speck of, you know, or maybe a little bigger of a speck, you know, of people that, you know, or people that just kind of look the other way and like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna keep living my life.
I'm not sitting here acting like I'm, you know, a goody two shoe. Like, these people that are out here doing this, they're just, you know, are what I would like to call opportunists. They see an opportunity and they're going for it. Mm-hmm. And then you got people.
They want to belong to something, and that, you know.
And I'm talking about the loot. I'm including like the looting and all of that. You know, people they see they can get away with it, they're doing it. You know, like them people, they probably don't have enough money to get what they was looking at. I guarantee you they went in there and got it.
Which is, I mean, is kind of funny in a sense too, you know, seeing people like,
it's just like,
hey, I needed that TV, or I saw that TV was on sale, but I'm like,
it's like, yeah, it's ignorant, yeah, they're being wild, they being, you know, outrageous, yeah, they probably doing a little too much, but it's like, at the same time though, can you blame them though for looting? Can you really blame them? Because as human beings, we are opportunistic. So it's just like, if you were there right now and you had the opportunity to loot any store, you cannot sit here and look me in the face and tell me that you wouldn't do it.
Right. Like if you were given the opportunity.
If you were given the opportunity.
Right.
You can't sit here and look me in the face and tell me that you wouldn't do it. Nobody can. Because you would be lying. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are ashamed to admit that shit. Right. You know what I mean? And that comes from emotion.
That's even a whole nother thing too, is people being ashamed to admit a lot.
Being ashamed is emotional. You know what I mean? And it's all based off of what? Judgment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when somebody's ashamed, it's because of another person's judgment. Just like when somebody's embarrassed, same shit. You know what I mean? So it's just like, but you gotta know who you are. And I know for a fact that as human beings, they're opportunistic people. They take the opportunity when given.
Right.
So if you are in front of some shit, or a store or whatever you want to call it, whatever it may be, and you have the opportunity to get it and make a come up off of it, you're going to. That's just what it is. A lot of people on this earth are materialistic people. A lot. Even the people that don't think they are. You know?
Yeah, because we've been given so
naturally
much.
Drawn
think
to
about, and there was, I mean, this is kind of based on data, but this guy has been studying behavior, and, you know, he said that humans just, like, have, you know, they have a sense to, like, belong, like, all the you know what I mean? And it's like it's almost like a natural instinct. So, or, you know what I mean? So, like, when people, you know, have all these, when they're first building homes, you know what I mean? All these people had homes, so you kind of like, oh, I kind of want to belong in that kind of a community, you know what I mean? So I need to build a home, and just kind of like, you know, going off of what you said. So.
Yeah, it needs, you know, so.
Creating opportunity, that type of thing.
Yeah. I see a lot of people judging these people on social media platforms and shit like that, and saying that, oh, these people are just as bad, these people are no better because they doing this shit, they looting this shit. But hey, like I said, It's easy to judge somebody when you're not there, when you're outside looking in. You know what I mean? It's always easy to judge somebody like that. But if you was actually there at the riot, and you was with those group of people, and y'all was right there in the moment, you would have taken some shit. I don't care if it was a fucking pack of bubble gum. You would have taken it.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just no way that there's hundreds,
just to do it.
There is no fucking way that there's hundreds of people surrounding a high-end store,
right,
with no supervision, that aren't going to walk out of there with something.
Right.
It's just not gonna happen.
And that's like, and you know, I think we've asked each other this, you know, like, if you were put in that situation, you know, what would you do? And it's like, you know, most of the time I was like, I don't know, like, I'd have to be in that situation. Like, I can't be like, oh, I wouldn't do that because I don't know, you know, like, I might be like, hell yeah, you know, let's go, let's do this. 2 seconds into it, so. But.
100%. Type of person, I like to look at everything from everybody's perspective, or any type of perspective.
Yeah, it's more fun that way, honestly. You know, and sometimes I get I'll admit I'll get closed-minded, and then, I mean, even talking with you, you know, you help me see other people's perspectives, which is cool.
Yeah.
So.
More people need to be like that.
Well, it all comes down to just being open-minded, which
it's a lot of
people think it's basic, but it's really not basic. Just more people, they're more closed-minded than they realize.
Yeah, 100%.
So let's use the last 15 minutes to kind of use, or to end with our some thoughts. I'll just delete this. Okay, let's use the last 15 minutes for kind of like our ending thoughts, because like I said, I don't really have a whole lot. I think I have a whole lot left. So.
No, don't delete it. That's the natural part.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be like that. But no, I mean, I ain't really got too much else to say. I just really, you know, want to make it clear to people that, you know, that racism shit is stupid, and you have to learn not to see color if you ever want to really make a difference. You know what I mean? You're not really making a difference by standing with only black people, or standing only with, you know, Hispanics, or only standing with Asians, Chinese, Orientals, or only standing, you know what I mean, with any race, rather it be black, white, anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the part that people misunderstand. And that's why this shit hasn't gone anywhere. People question this shit all the time.
Right.
Oh, why are people still racist? Like, you still you still labeling, you still separating, you know what I mean, and you still being biased. You can't be biased against another race of people. It's automatically gonna make another race of people feel uncomfortable every single time, and that shit just, it's not ever gonna be any peace. Never. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It also makes me think, you know, just about all the other victims, and, you know, women who are victimized by men, you know, not to be like, I'm not a women's right activist or anything, you know, like that, but, you know, just thinking about, you know, women that are, or even men that can be victimized by other people, you know what I mean? Just certain other situations that, where there's so many other victims that we're so unaware of that, you know, deserve justice. You know, like, this isn't just, and I don't mean to sound negative in any way, shape, or form, but, you know, I'm just saying that there really is a lot of other really bad situations that that need men and women of all colors, you know,
To address
all culture. Yes.
Yeah.
To address it, come together, and then move forward. Like, and that's basically, you know what I mean? And it includes the racism too, you know, of course. But I'm just saying that, like, you know, there's a lot of things that tie into it because, like I said, you know, men and women sometimes don't even see eye to eye. So that's another thing to keep in mind, that men and women need to see eye to eye as well. And children, how you teach your children, what you're teaching children, influencing, modeling for children. You know, is this a good model for children? Nope. Not at all.
Right. If you don't want your children to go or to grow up being, you know, any type of segregated or look at color in any kind of way, then you gotta set the example. You know what I mean? You can't go out here
really
protesting.
Important.
You can't go out here protesting for one specific type of race.
No.
You know what I mean? You gotta protest for everybody.
Right.
You know
And
what I
you,
mean?
yeah. And you
Because
want,
everybody deserves that equality.
yeah, and
You know what I mean?
everybody's, yeah.
How do you think it makes every other race feel? You know, if you out here saying, like, you know, shit like Black Lives Matter, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. No, it should be like everybody. All lives matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So that's pretty much, you know, the message in this whole, you know, podcast.
Yeah. All right. Well, looks like we got to wrap it up a little bit quicker. So, babe, is there anything else that you really, really want to say on this particular podcast before we have to get out of here?
I think I pretty much made my point.
All right. Well, you know, I appreciate you and I love you so much for coming on here. It means the world to me because you're my first guest appearance. So thank you. And I'm sure we'll have 1,000 more of these conversations. And I can't wait for everybody to tune in and listen to this because I think everybody's going to appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anybody that listens, thanks for tuning in. And again, this was Connect with KT. You listen to KT and Antonio. And you guys all have a good night, good day, stay safe, and